You can't go too far down the grocery aisle without passing by a product made by Procter & Gamble. That's because today there are more than 250 P&G brands on the market. Brands like Bounty, Tide, Crest, Pampers, and Charmin. Brands that have grown up with us through the years and continue to remain strong.
It's a company that really, during its entire history, has been an innovator, and especially when it comes to understanding consumers and in creating brands and building those brands for generations and generations.
Building brands is the cornerstone of P&G's success.
But I don't think back in 1837 they would have ever dreamed that it would have blossomed the way it did.
And the company did blossom. Today, more than 160 years after its birth, Procter & Gamble boasts $40 billion in sales in 130 countries. Amazing when you consider that the company's first branded product, Ivory Soap, was the result of a mistake.
We made a batch that had a bit too much air in it, and we discovered that that batch floated. But actually we uncovered a consumer need that the soap actually floats, so you can find it when you were bathing or you were doing some laundry.
That discovery would be the beginning of what was to become one of America's oldest companies today. P&G was founded by candle maker William Procter and by soap maker James Gamble. Together, the two joined forces to create a new enterprise. The success of Ivory Soap resulted in the company's very first newspaper advertisement. In 1882, with a sum of $11,000, P&G would be able to tell everyone in the country about the benefits of this floating soap. And that was how the company's first brand came to be.
It was a way for us to establish trust with the consumer that every time they bought that product, they would get the same promise, time after time after time. And that was the origin of the brand. And it's something that we have built and developed over time.
Procter & Gamble's products have been with the American public through the decades.
Oh, Mom! Look, Mom, no cavities!
Oh, Debbie, really? Dentist says no new cavities. Golly, what a difference that Crest toothpaste has made.
Gracious, this sink shines like a new sink? Yes. Josephine, you sure know your job and your cleansers.
Oh, well, all you have to know about cleansers is Comet gets out stains better than any other leading cleanser.
Early on, many Procter & Gamble products were advertised during the first days of television.
Of all the women who do their wash, she has the cleanest wash in town. She starts off wash day singing,
Tide is dirt out. I wear the...
P&G also had a pioneering role in developing daytime dramas when their commercials would air on television.
The Guiding Light, presented by Comet, the stain-removing cleanser that now comes in the handy bathroom size to make bathroom cleaning so easy.
They even launched their own production company and created 3 soap operas. As the popularity of P&G's products grew, new consumer goods would be brought to market, and the company would become experts in branding.
Procter & Gamble, even in the early days, thought about marketing in many of the same ways we still do, if you can believe that. It all began with, understanding deeply the consumer and why the product was relevant for the consumer.
And that line of thinking continues today. It starts with a solid understanding of the consumer, the brand, and how it plays in a consumer's life, which is why P&G believes that as long as products can stay relevant, they can have an unlimited life cycle.
We always look at what's in this for the consumer.
Always thinking about the consumer is a strategy that has served the company well. Through the years, the principles of how to market a brand have never changed, but the methods of targeting and defining an audience has. Today, it's a lot more complicated. One of the key strategies that P&G has implemented over the years is really trying to get to know the consumer and understanding the total consumer experience. With that in mind, Procter & Gamble has spent a tremendous amount of time, money, and innovation on market research. Focus groups talking about a product is simply not enough. The marketers at P&G are digging deeper to try and really understand consumer behaviors.
We shop with consumers. We spend, hours and hours in consumers' homes with them. In fact, I was in Caracas a couple of months ago, literally in consumers' homes, making coffee with them to try to understand, how they think about coffee.
It's an innovative approach that really puts the consumer at the center of everything they do.
But now I think we think much more holistically about the consumer's entire experience related to our brands. So we pay much more attention, for example, to the in-store experience.
Procter & Gamble runs its business today by brand, and they've changed their organizational structure to completely integrate all departments. That change is a reflection of the company's philosophy that a brand has to stand for something singular in a consumer's mind.
We tie together everyone who's working on a particular brand, whether it be those people who are designing, the packaging, the product, the way we connect with consumers via media, the advertising, the understanding, the in-store environment. So what we're trying to create for the consumer is an experience that is relevant, that connects, that is totally integrated.
Which brings us to another change from the old days of mass marketing to now targeting consumers.
To me, targeting is the future of brand marketing and brand building, because the better you understand your target, the better your marketing will be. You will be more effective, you'll be more relevant, and by the way, you'll be more efficient.
Safeguard keeps you fresher after getting you clean. It's better than leading bars with hexachlorophene.
It used to be that a television ad would reach most of a targeted audience. That isn't the case today. That's why the company is focused on looking at different ways to connect with consumers to meet those higher expectations. One of the newest ways they're connecting is right at the store, working with retailers to co-market products. P&G has geographically located resources in the cities where their most influential retailers are headquartered.
Where we really sit down and we really think about each other's strategies, each other's strengths, and we create an experience in the store with our brands, with that retailer, that really help us, please the consumer, which ultimately is what we're both trying to do.
Pleasing the consumer takes a lot more effort today. Consumers just don't have the time, and they have higher expectations.
We can't just shout at consumers anymore. We have to really talk to them when they want to listen, and they really choose the time and the place.
That time and place today is increasingly becoming the Internet, an outlet where consumers can learn about issues relating to the products they're using, like the Pampers Internet site, a place where moms can get helpful information about parenting. It's P&G's way to connect with consumers on their terms.
They all want information about babies, and Pampers provides a wonderful service of information about babies. Their internet site is not about selling Pampers. The internet site is really about helping mothers understand their baby and answer questions about their babies.
Just as reaching out to consumers has changed through the years, so too has the way products have been positioned. Changes have been made in redefining brands to keep up with today's consumer needs. The marketers at P&G spend a tremendous amount of time defining a brand's equity and then making sure that everyone understands the equity, because essentially that drives every decision that is made about a brand.
For us, understanding that consumer and defining that equity in the right way, it has to be broad yet specific, is really the key to the health of all of our brands moving forward.
Every move. The Pampers brand is one example. It has recently been redefined from a brand about absorption to a brand about baby development.
We're right behind you every step of the way.
So that simple but deep change from a functional equity to a very broad emotional one has resulted in a whole different look to even Pampers diapers. It's developed in a whole different look in the advertising, a different media plan, and a totally different new product plan.
Sometimes new product plans can also result from Internet research.
We've actually found that the Internet research gives us a more representative feel for consumer reactions than we initially might have expected. So I think we're leveraging technology to help us understand consumers and really to speed up our understanding of consumers.
That certainly was the case when P&G decided to launch one of its new products, Crest White Strips, not on television, but instead on the Internet.
It's been one of the most successful product launches in history. In year one, we had over $220 million in sales for a new product. And it was, to me, the result was because we did the fundamentals right, and we leveraged the internet to do that.
What they also gained from that experience was knowledge about the consumer. From that, they were able to successfully draft a marketing campaign based upon the information they gleaned from buyers.
Times better than the leading whitening toothpaste in just 2 weeks, and it lasts at least 6 months.
We sold the product on the internet and developed a very loyal following as well as a huge amount of buzz. That product sold like crazy just by word of mouth. People would try it and went, wow, this really works.
The internet example is another way that P&G continues to come up with new ideas to connect with consumers. It's a resource that is also being used internally to share best practices with marketers around the world.
Any marketer anywhere in the world can access to gain new knowledge and to connect with other P&G marketers wrestling with the same issue or the same problem. And it gets tremendous activity, gets tremendous hits, and we use it as a great way to teach, to learn from each other, and connect.
The employees at P&G are always working to discover new ways to reach out to consumers, and sometimes that's accomplished by developing new products and introducing new product categories. P&G invented disposable diapers, home dry cleaning, and the very popular cleaning tool, the Swiffer, which was designed after extensive market research.
And consumers said, gee, we would really like something that's fast and easy that even the kids could do. And it is amazing how many children actually sweep the floors now because Swiffer's fun.
You can't talk about branding without focusing on packaging and its important role in differentiating products on store shelves.
And we have to make sure that we're distinctive and that we're communicating what's different about our brand that sets it apart. And that's really a key challenge for the marketing organization.
A challenge again because labeling is more complex and consumers are demanding more variety and detail. For hair care products like Pantene, P&G decided to change the whole versioning system to describe more hair types because it wasn't enough to just say shampoo for dry hair or oily hair. And the same is true with other products.
We have to explain to consumers, why are we different? We can't just come out and say, new and improved, isn't that great? And have everybody go try it. That used to work, believe it or not. It doesn't work anymore.
When it comes to packaging products overseas, there are additional considerations that come into play.
We really have to understand each consumer. So even the packages aren't always the same around the world. You need to understand what does the brand name mean, what do the colors mean, what are the heritage, what are the different visual and sensory cues that are important for consumers in each marketplace.
Whether a consumer is shopping in another country or not, there still remain two overall moments of truth. The first, to catch the consumer's eye, and the next, to delight the consumer and make sure she comes back. Two very important points not lost on the marketers at P&G, who realize that each and every product must have its own merits and stand up to its claims.
Liquitabs. Its unique Pure Clean system means Ariel Non-Bio loves stains, and it's dermatologically tested.
When we can deliver really meaningful, life-improving benefits to consumers at a great value, we win, and that's what we're focused on doing.
So what's in store for the future of P&G marketing? It's hard to tell.
We're constantly evolving. So the P&G today won't be the P&G of next year or the P&G 10 years from now, which is fun.
Fun, and at the same time, challenging.
We still believe basically that a brand name is about trust, it's about respect, it's about love in many cases, and that is still a value we have today.
A value that has brought Procter & Gamble into virtually every home in America, a thought that candle and soap maker P&G might not have imagined back in the 1800s, when the success of that simple bar of floating soap ultimately changed the world for consumers. For the Pearson Video Library, I'm Pat Laurie, Business Now.